On that note, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Virgan Radio Service. I'm your host, Grant Magic, also the dictator of the Virgan Republic. That song was Paul Flint and Phil Lee's Girlfriend featuring LW, an NCS release which you can find in the link below if you want to listen to it again. Also, you can find the link to our Discord server down in the description as well. And this week I'm joined by one Tsar Antonov of Obscurium.
Good evening.
How are you today, sir?
I'm feeling very well.
Very good. So let's get right into the questions. So why did you found Obscurium? What was your reason?
Well, it actually started many years ago in 2014, I think it was, when I was just tired of German laws. I found them annoying and useless, so I declared my room to be an independent state. I was immature in school back then. I didn't think much about it, but you could kind of call it the start of this passion of mine. But I forgot about it after a year in 2015, and that was it for this particular project. But in 2016, I discovered the whole concept of micronationalism, or I rediscovered it, kind of. And I decided to make my own micronation. And since I was into communism at that time, I was a very hardcore communist at the time, yes. I decided to make it a communist nation. And because communism doesn't tend to work on Earth, I decided to have that nation on the planet of Mars, yes. And it wasn't called Obscurium either, it was called the UPROM, the United People's Republic of Mars.
Oh.
The problem of that, obviously...
I remember UPROM. I remember that. That was a couple of months ago.
Yes, you remember it.
Yeah, I remember.
It was until April, until late April we had that.
Yeah.
But the UPROM was founded on the 3rd of March, 2018. So a little bit more than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a terrible speech back then. You can still find it on YouTube now. I made a terrible speech. I put on a sweater kind of jacket with a few medals I pulled out of my closet, and yeah, that's how the UPROM was founded. Okay. The obvious problem with it was that it was on Mars, but
that's always
didn't make that many.
There's always an issue with founding a nation on Mars. First, you need to think about how am I going to get to it.
That was the problem, and I didn't really think about it at that time.
So, what about your reason?
Sorry.
What about your reason for naming it Obscurium? Why did you choose that name in particular?
After some time, I decided to make a Twitter account for us, for UPROM, and I got a lot of backlash for having the nation on Mars. And to be completely honest, for some time before that, I had been a little bit unhappy with the flag, with the coat of arms, and with the whole idea of being on Mars. And at that time, I actually also acquired a piece of land not far away from where I live. So I decided to change it. And I thought about it, and then I came up with the name Obscurium, because Obscurium just perfectly fits the whole idea of our nation. Because just look at our motto. Our motto describes us perfectly: liberty, unity, obscurity. That's what we are all about, really.
That's a very good motto.
Thank you. And so I asked my best friend Anton, who is also a citizen, and he loved it as well. I asked our other citizens, and so I changed it to Obscurium. I spent 2 weeks making a new flag. I still have a whole folder on my tablet with over 200 different designs for the new flag. Mm-hmm. The coat of arms was a lot easier to make. And yeah, in late April, I think it was the 29th of April, 2019, the EUPROM was no more, and Obscurium was born.
Very good. Very good.
And we also, of course, dropped all our territorial claims on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And now we only have 2 territorial claims. The room where I live in,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously I can control that, and the territory I acquired. Nobody lives there yet, but that maybe that might change pretty soon.
Okay. So what about infrastructure within Obscurium? Do you have any current going on, or maybe in the past?
Well, when I first visited the I'm just going to call it the garden, because it used to be kind of a garden and still is kind of a garden instead of territory. So when I first entered the garden, it was in a pretty desolate state. But there were things there to begin with, and we do have a former greenhouse / hut there.
Mm-hmm.
We use as our main building because it's rainproof. It's a good shelter. We store all our tools there. We have our national museum there,
Mm-hmm.
which contains objects found at excavations in the garden. And yeah, it's our main administrative building. And we do have a second building on that territory. It's called the Gatehouse because it's right next to the gate, but it's still in a pretty desolate state, and inside it doesn't really look that good. From the outside it doesn't really look that good either, actually, but we use it as storage area for wood we found everywhere. I shared a link in the comment section to our website where you can see pictures of the garden, so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the infrastructure we have, and of course we have a few roads through all of it.
What about current projects? Do you have any current projects going on within Obscurium?
Projects? Well, a project I just finished was our army. Not really an army, but we have had a navy since the 6th of June 2018. And it's just one boat, but I still call it a navy. But I always wanted to have a land force to actually defend our or guard our territory, and we actually got someone there guarding it right now. So I wanted a land force officially. So the last week I spent designing army flag, battle flags. And that was a big project, of course. Most big projects are flags or seals and stuff like that. And I finished it a few days ago, and it's official now as well. I used a big blue snail as the main emblem for this obscure mobile land force.
Mm-hmm.
Ground force, sorry. Obscure mobile ground force, that's what I called it. Because I saw medieval paintings with snails fighting knights, and I thought it would be a nice reference to that. But that's always the main projects. Flags. Other projects include, of course, making the garden look prettier, because there's a lot of grass there, a lot of things growing over the paths and stuff, and want to make it look better so visitors will not be spooked when they enter it. And don't get lost in the jungle, of course. The jungle is very dangerous.
A green thumb's always a good thing to have. So tell us how your government actually functions. How is it structured?
Well, in theory, it's as I call it, true direct democracy. So the people have all the power. They elect all officers directly, and they also form the parliament directly.
Okay.
And we have a chat on Discord where I propose laws. I mostly do it. Everyone else can propose laws as well, but I'm mostly the only one to do it. I propose laws there, and people have the opportunity to discuss it, and then we will vote on it. And if it's rejected, it's rejected. If people want the law, if people approve the law, I put it in the constitution. That's the theory of it, and it sometimes works, but recently when I made the new army, I went over their heads and did it directly, because the constitution says that the president basically has dictatorial powers. And I use them sometimes for things like adding an army to our constitution, stuff like that, but I try to make it to have as much democracy as possible, even though according to the constitution there doesn't have to be democracy right now, but I still try to have democracy.
Okay. Very good. So the next question would be, so who officially oversees Obscurium? Is it you? Is it someone else?
Oh, it's mostly me. Obscurium was, well, it was really my idea, mostly. I've got a lot of support from my friend Anton. I don't know if he's watching right now, but if you are, Anton, thank you very much for your support. And I also got support from Jessie. I don't know if she's watching or not, but thanks to you too, Jessie. But most of the stuff is done by me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wish I could get a little bit more help. No, most of the stuff is done by me. I change the website almost daily, adding new pictures and changing mistakes I find. So yes, I oversee Obscurium basically.
Very good. What about new projects within Obscurium, as in physical, digital ones? Any upcoming projects?
Well, upcoming projects, there are 3 I'd like to, no. There are 4 I'd like to mention. First one would be, right next to the garden, we got a neighbor, person who is living there, and I've been talking to him, and he is interested in joining Obscurium and adding his territory to our territory. So soon we might actually have a permanent population in our territory. So this is a project I'm working on with him. Right now he is the so-called Shield of Obscurium, or the Obscure Defender.
Mm-hmm.
He is not officially a citizen, but he has the task of guarding the border, really, because he obviously lives there, and I get along with him really well. So that's a big project. Another project I have is getting a bigger boat for our navy and sailing down the Danube with it, and also sailing around in the Kieler Förde, or the Bight of Kiel. It's a bay here in Kiel, Schleswig-Holstein, Germany. I don't know if you know it, but it's not far away from where I live, and I want to have a naval presence there. So I want to get a bigger boat to do that, because the boat we have right now is a little bit too small for the Danube or the high seas. So that's another project, expand the navy. And of course, I'm a big flag fanatic, so I already mentioned that we are redesigning our territory, the garden, and I also want to add some flagpoles there. Mm-hmm. I want to have at least 4 flagpoles there. Right now we only have 1 for the national flag, but I also want to have a few other flagpoles there. That's very important to me, and as soon as I get more money for this, I will erect more flagpoles there. That's a very big project for the future. And I don't know if you could call this a project, but I've been very rigorously preparing for Microcon, which is in under 2 weeks now, and I've been working on a special surprise for everybody who is going to be there. It's a surprise, so I'm not going to say what it was, but I have been working on it for the past few weeks, and I mean, it's not really a future project anymore, but kind of.
Are you going to Microcon?
Yes, I have been watching the website since 2017, when I discovered that there was a Microcon, and when they when their website went online, the one for 2019, I immediately registered, and then I worked off my ass to get the 700 euros for tickets to Toronto. It was hard work, but I got the money, and yes, I'm going.
So, very good. You should definitely give us an update on how that goes. Maybe we can have you back on the show at some point, and we can discuss what happens there. I personally won't be attending because I don't have a passport. I do have the money, but I'm a bit of a lazy bastard, so I'm not going to go anyway.
What a reason!
Yes, definitely. What about future goals and desires for Obscurium?
Oh well, so I mentioned the UPROM at the beginning, our desire to have a nation on Mars, and I still haven't killed the UPROM. If you noticed, our main holiday is still the 3rd of March 2018, the declaration day when I declared the UPROM, so Obscurium is still the same nation country as the UPROM. It just has a different mission now, mostly. Our main mission now being to have a almost perfect country, which is part of the UPROM's mission, minus the part of being on Mars. But I still have, it's not in the constitution anymore, so it's not official, but I still have the plan that if any day the possibility arises to get us to Mars, we should totally get to Mars and have our country there. I'd still like to do that in the future, if the possibility ever arises.
So, good reason.
But it's very futuristic, so I haven't put it in the constitution.
Good reason as any. So let's move on to the community and the recent going-ons. The only
Yes.
notable thing that I picked up on that maybe you would know about is the recent going-ons with Wakonga. I couldn't pick up anything else that you might actually be aware of, apart from maybe the dissolution of the AUM as well. Do you know about any of these?
Well, I do. I am active on Twitter. I've been active on Twitter for quite a few months now, but I've actually never gotten really into the community that much. But I do know about the Vikonga thing. I do know that Vikonga has been trying to get recently formed Micronation to join them. And apparently, I don't know if this is still accurate, but I saw something about them faking conversations with one of those micronations.
Yes, that would.
And so I don't. I highly condemn them lying about this. I don't like people lying. It's something I don't like at all. And I don't really like them asking really young micronations immediately to join them. It's kind of suspicious. I wouldn't call it imperialist, as some people have called it. I would just call it really suspicious and really strange. And if I were them, I'd stop it. I don't see any reason to do this, really.
What do you mean when you say suspicious?
It's kind of strange getting so many micronations to join them. I mean, it's just really strange to me, and I don't know what they're really up to. Suspicious is the best word I could come up with.
I don't know if you watched the interview with President Dan Morris of New Westphalia last week. Did you watch that one?
Yes, I watched that one.
Yeah. So he said something quite along the same lines as you right there, that he didn't believe that it was imperialistic, and with that I had to disagree. And I'm going to disagree with you again, or with you on that. A respectful disagreement, and I'll tell you why. Because you said that it's not imperialistic and that Wakonga seems to have some kind of motive. Now, Wakonga's not aware Dennis Gomez, who runs Wikonga, isn't really aware of what he's doing, and you'd be absolutely right. Trying to when Wikonga came into the community initially, they had a very Pokemonish mindset. You know Pokemon, like catch 'em all, and they did this with
I catch them all. Yes.
yeah, they did this with recognition agreements at first, and it seems to have been picked up on by a lot of my peers and a lot of other people. And he went round and he contacted quite a lot of people that I knew, in the community, asking for recognition documents. He got some, he didn't get others. That's just what happens. Not everyone's interested in signing a recognition document with, obviously, like a fairly new nation. And a lot of my peers did view that as quite strange, as a quite strange thing to do, because this had never been done before. It had absolutely not been done before. It might have been done before, like I was part of the wider community, but certainly not when I came. So Wikonga is the first nation to really do this. And when I seen what happened with Flamvoria, like an Italian state, I thought, right, okay, this is going to get immediately worse, because he's going to integrate more and more nations, which he has been trying to do. And the reason that I use the word imperialistic to describe the intentions and actions of one Dennis Gomez is because this is exactly what. I don't know if you've seen the meme that he posted, or the photo that his press account posted. It was
the one with the family.
Yes, the one with the family. So the main players, the main three nations that were included in that were obviously my nation, one Ronnie Miller of Spensonia, and President Dan Morris, and he had labelled us Nazis because we were using the word imperialist to describe him and his nation. Now, bear in mind, Dan, he never ever used the word imperialist to describe Wikonga, ever, and yet he was labelled a Nazi, branded a Nazi. Again, when I say he's an imperialist, this is what the Nazis were. Now, he's a hypocrite in this sense, because Nazis were all about globalism, one race, one country, one government. And this is where I find the hypocrisy, because he's doing just that, yet he's labelling us Nazis because we want to stop that. And that's why I use the word imperialist to describe him. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there. I apologise.
Well, you do have a good argument.
I like to think that I do.
You do have a good argument, but
again,
I'm still not.
Yeah, again, you're like,
Yes?
you're entitled to your own opinion on that, but like if you say it's anything other than imperialism, I'm going to disagree with you every single time, because that's what I view it as. Recently, Wikonga has been quote unquote declining, because a lot of states have retracted from Wikonga. They've also been waking up to the realization that this is what Wikonga is doing, and this is what Wikonga wants to do. And this has created a lot of tension between, obviously, my nation and Wikonga, who's part of the Confederation, not the Confederation, the Conference of International Leaders, which Wikonga is also part of. Started a few arguments there as well because of it. But that's really everything I've got to say on that. What's Obscurium's general relationship with the community? Do other nations like Obscurium? Do they not?
Everybody loves us. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I we don't have such a deep relationship with the community, as I already mentioned earlier. There was a lot of negative backlash when I made the Uprom Twitter account, but obviously Obscurium doesn't claim Mars anymore, so there is not that much negative sentiment against us, I'd say, anymore. And we have found a friend at the very beginning. Back then they were called Hasten, now they're Nordstern.
Yes.
Gabriel Young, very very nice guy. He actually supported us back then as well. And so we have good relations with a few micronations, with Nordstern obviously, and with the, what was it called? Cassiopeian Sovereign Empire. Those guys from Cyprus, yeah, with the strange flag. I actually offered to make a flag for them, but they haven't replied on that yet. But we did sign a treaty, so I consider them friendly towards us as well. But like I said, we don't have relations with that many micronations, because honestly, I'm pretty bad at establishing relations with anyone, really. Once it has started, no problem, but I'm kind of bad at starting things. So it's always been a problem that came back to haunt me.
Well, socializing isn't, well, maybe not socializing, but first impressions can be wrong, and what you obviously need to do to build relations with nations that you would like to is you know, show that you've got confidence in your own nation, and you know, don't take the community and don't treat it as if it's a joke. That's what a lot of nations respect, because a lot of nations like to have their sovereignty respected, and obviously the fact that, you know, they're an independent state, they like to have that respected. I know that personally you haven't done that. I'm just making the point that if you want to have good relations with nations, you got to contact them and say, you know, I respect this about you, I respect that about you. And I was maybe wondering if we could have some diplomacy. The wrong way to go about things is to just contact nations and ask them to join your growing republic. It's definitely the wrong way to do things.
Seen in the recent example.
Yes, most recent example. Yeah, but that's what you got to do. You got to build. You got to interact with nations, and obviously on the Twitter side, and if you're on Instagram, maybe Amino, Discord, anywhere you can find, you know, build relations with nations. First of all, start talking to them, and maybe one of them will decide, I like Obscurium, so like maybe we can write out a recognition document between our nations and have better relations from there.
We need to start talking.
Yes.
That's our new motto from now on. Start talking.
Yes, that's always the first step. So what change, right, if applicable, does Obscurium want to see within the community?
Excuse me?
What change, if applicable, does Obscurium want to see within the community?
I don't know the community that well. I don't really know what should change. I've seen a few arguments, like the one with Iconga, where they're just calling people Nazis and stuff like that I don't like at all. So one thing I'd like to change, but it's a general thing I like to change all around the world, is that everybody should respect each other's opinion and treat each other nicely. I'd like people to treat each other more nicely, yes. Not start fights everywhere and offend each other the whole time with things like that.
that's a decent thing to ask for. It's not too what's the word I'm looking for? It's not too unreasonable to ask for that. So this is a message to the live audience right now. We're coming up to the end, and if you have any questions for Mr. Antonov or myself, please post them in the comments section, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. So moving on to the next question. The next question being, following up on the last question, is there anything happening within the community that personally worries you right now?
Excuse me?
Is there anything within is there anything happening within the community currently that worries you?
Well, the Viconga thing a little bit, obviously, but nothing else really. Nothing that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is something somewhere, but I'm not aware of it. I'm sorry, that was a muff.
Okay, so it's time for live audience question time. The Republic of Gaia asks, what kind of relics have you discovered in your excavations?
Oh, I'm happy you asked. On our website, we have pictures of them. If you go to Cultural National Museum, we discovered some artifacts we don't really know what there is. Like there's one thing that looks like a heart. It looks like a Christmas decoration a little bit. It's hollow inside and doesn't have a bottom. It looks very pretty, so we keep it around. And there's this other object. It's like made for a candle. It's like a thing. This thing you put a candle inside on the cemetery, next to graves.
Like a brazier?
You know what I'm talking about? Like what?
A brazier?
I'm not sure what it's called. So maybe.
I'll
well, it wasn't a pretty.
I'll try and get a picture and I'll show you.
Anyway, we took that thing, whatever it is, and we incorporated into our international military memorial. We did find a lot of wine bottles from the previous owners, I assume, a lot of cigarettes from the previous owners, and we found a small set of clothes, very small clothes, which led us to the assumption that the previous owners must have been a race of dwarves who drank a lot of wine and also smoked a lot. And this is most likely also what drove them to extinction. We haven't had their remains yet, but this theory is widely accepted amongst our archaeologists. And recently, we also found more disturbing artifacts. We found a red star. Before that, we found a strange tool next to a main gate. We don't know what its purpose was, so just sitting in our museum now. It's like a knife, but not really. It's bent. But to get to the more strange find, we found a broken red star next to the greenhouse. Mm-hmm. And now we believe that the previous owners were not only dwarves who died from too much alcohol and cigarette abuse. We also were communists, and we also believe that those communists may still be around. And some have even put forth the theory that some plants in Obscurium might be communists. And since there are a lot of foreign plants in the jungle who like very much to scratch me and annoy me, I think that just might be true.
Oh, you
So
heard.
those are the
Yeah.
artifacts we found.
Yes. Well, you heard it right there from the horse's mouth. Gaia. The artifacts includes old wine bottles, cigarette butts, and small clothes, which appeared to be ha- owned by a race of primordial dwarfs, or maybe even homunculi. If anyone's not aware of what the word homunculi or homunculus, it's Latin for short but perfect person. Um, Daniel Morris asks, have you ever considered other meetings with European/British micronationalists?
Oh yes. Which one was it again? The Zoneland, micronation from Britain, I believe. They made a very nice map recently with showing micronations all around the world, and I noticed a very big concentration of micronations in Britain, and I have plans to visit Britain in the future, and those plans include contacting micronations in Britain, and yes, trying to meet up with them. So yes, I have considered it. I just don't have the money for it right now. It will probably take until next year to get to Britain again, because obviously I spent all my money on Microcon and on a trip to southern Germany slash Czechia, maybe. We're not quite sure about where exactly I'm going to go, but most of my money was spent on that, so it will take a year or a year and a half until I can do any such things. I did try to look for micronations in Germany, but there was only one, and the website went down, so I hadn't had time to contact them.
Okay. Dan Morris also says that he'd be very happy to meet you next year when you visit Britain.
It's very, very nice. I'd be happy to meet him as well. Yes.
He also said earlier when you were explaining about your navy, is it Schleswig-Holstein? That's nowhere near Westphalia.
No, well, a little bit. Not really. The story is the following. We moved from Greece, which is also nowhere near Westphalia, to Westphalia, Dortmund. Yes, it's still in Westphalia.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mother got a job in Kiel. And also my grandmother lives here, my aunt lives here. And who else lives here? Oh, that's the only people who live here, actually. But most of our family lives here, so we moved to Kiel. And yeah, that's where we ended up there. It's not very close to Westphalia, but it's also not that far away. So I actually visited it in 2016, and oh, so many memories. It was a very lovely visit.
Very good.
And I want to visit it again, and maybe I can do it this summer, because I have to get to the south of Germany, obviously, and Dortmund is in the middle of Germany. So, and I'm in the north of Germany, so I'll get through a middle. So I'm thinking about stopping by.
Very good.
No, it's not directly next to me, Westphalia, of course not.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I miss it. Or no, I didn't say it in the interview. I miss Westphalia very much. Yes, I want to visit New Westphalia as well. Of course, of course.
Very good. Well, maybe yourself and Dan after the show can have a little chat between yourselves about doing these sorts of things. I'm pretty sure he'd be happy to welcome you, and that you'd be very happy to meet him. So yeah.
Lovely idea.
It would be pretty nice. We don't see many German micronations in the community at all. For some
Question:
reason,
is there any other German micronation you know of at all? or was there any other really German micronation at all? Not just micronations pretending to be the second German Empire or something like that.
No, I personally I don't remember any. I don't remember any at all. I may have.
So.
Dan says the last German micronation he knew of was run by Lether, who is Frederick Weyer, who ran Pristina in Cologne.
Cologne, not so far away from where I used to live.
No. He's still around, but not the head of a nation.
I see.
So
well, actually, if I'm allowed to mention this, there is a thing that's quite close to micronationalism, but also not really. That's going on in Germany at this very moment. Am I allowed to talk about this?
Go for it. I haven't heard about this, so you're welcome to.
It's called the Reichsbürger. Maybe you are familiar with the term Reich or Reich.
Yes, I'm familiar with that terminology.
Anyone else, it's translated to imperial citizens or citizens of the empire. So when Germany was occupied in 1945, they say what the Allies did, found the Federal Republic of Germany, is just a corporation basically, and it's not a real state. And according to international law, the German Empire, the Third Reich, inside its borders from 1938 is still around to this day. So legally this German Reich is still around, and those guys, the Reichsbürger, they say the Federal Republic is not a real country. They say the passports are fake because the eagle on the cover has 7 feathers and the eagle inside has 5 feathers. That's proof of it, according to them. And other things as well, and they make their own passports. They follow the old German constitution from 1871, and they're pretty much all of them are very right wing, and that's the main difference to micronationalism. I think they make a lot of trouble, real trouble. They attack police officers or other officials. Yeah, that's mostly what they do. And they also hold meetings with their exile government of the German Empire. There's one guy, I think Norbert Schittke is his name. Norbert believes that Merkel was trained by the Stasi, the secret police of the German Democratic Republic, the GDR or DDR, East Germany. He believes that she was trained by them to destroy Germany and bring in the Jews and stuff like that. And he also believes chemtrails are real. And he believes that the alternative for Germany, the AfD, a right-wing party that had recently gained popularity in Germany, he believes that that party was founded by Merkel's party, the current chancellor of Germany, the CDU. And he believes this because of a document that was released by the Postillon, which is a satire news site. And he believes that's real. Really.
Okay.
So that's basically what the Reichsbürgers are. Oh. And I actually met one of them. Yes, I met one of them. He was in front of the Reichstag in Berlin. I was standing there, remembering people that today was Armistice Day, and before that today 100 years ago the German Republic was founded, and he approached me and talked to me about what was it again? Aryan Slavic brotherhood, and how Russia is a brother nation, how we are an Aryan race and we belong together with them, and how my passport is fake and stuff like that. That's basically that.
Well, that's very interesting. I have certainly not heard of that before. But yeah, that's I don't know if that's worrying or not.
It's quite worrying, but I mean there are not that many people, but they do make a lot of trouble. And of course, one more thing, there was the Kingdom of Germany. That's a micronation, actually, kind of. Was a self-proclaimed state in Saxony, which was more like a cult, because the guy who ran it, or who still runs it, he kind of indoctrinated people inside of it and made them follow him as their leader and accept him, and follow him into death, basically. Not that extreme, but they would do anything for him. They would go to live with him in his abandoned hospital, and then he started to annoy the police by driving around with his own license plate, by only showing his own his made up ID of his nation. And the worst thing he did was make his own bank. He founded his own bank, where he said that people should invest in it. He wanted people to invest in it, and he told them that they would get much more money back than they invested into it. And in reality, they didn't get any money back at all. And I don't know if he used the money, but I think he used it to buy this abandoned hospital. And he also tried to make energy with trash there, which didn't smell good at all. And the police had to go in there and get him out. And he was in prison, I think, but now he's out again, and he's trying to get more people to join him again. So you could call it a micronation, but you can kind of see the pattern here. The micronationalists in Germany are all pretty extreme and like to break the law and mess with the government, with the German government officials and the police.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different than us. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not going to your town hall and standing in front of it and shouting into people's faces, Germany is not, the UK is not a legitimate nation.
That's, the UK isn't a legitimate nation, to be honest. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah.
Well, you're still not doing what I just described.
Yeah. No, I would never do that. For a start, jail time would be much longer here in the UK. Yeah, but that was really detailed, and well, thanks for that, because I had no idea that was going on right now. So we'll come to the end of VRS this week. Before anything else, I just want to make a few announcements. Obviously, when on Sunday I made the announcement that we'd hit 1,000 total views and 50 total subscribers, and also the supposed war with the third Deutschland Republic is still going on. It's getting blown to smithereens here. Send help.
If you need support, I just founded our army, so
yeah. Send help. Send a lot of help. He's gonna be at my door in the next 2 years.
We will send our tanks in immediately.
Yes, that would be very nice of you. So as long as they're not made out of Lego, I kind of need real ones. Yeah, but do you have any questions for myself?
Not right now, no.
Okay, that's cool. Well, that's the end of this week's show. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for your questions, and obviously thanks for the continued support on the channel. It means quite a lot to myself and to my two mediators. But yes, thanks very much for watching this week. Mr. Antonov, thanks for attending. It was really nice.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a lovely evening/night.
Yes. Maybe need to get you on some other time to discuss what happened with Microcon. Because you're the only nation I've had on that's actually going to Microcon. So yeah, that would be pretty good. Yeah, but thanks everyone for watching, and tune in next week when Calabar, the United Isles of Calabar will be getting a second chance to appear on the show. The first 10 didn't go so well. A lot of technical issues on his side, and we had to cancel that week. I will have a backup so that you guys don't miss out. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next week.